So the Midwest is officially open, but with these warmer temperatures ahead, can it last? We're gonna answer that question on today's weather report. What's going on, Midwest skiers and riders? Matthew Zamansky with MidwestSkiers.com. This is awesome. I gotta apologize to the snowmaking crews over at Andy's Tower Hills, Wild Mtn, and Trollhagen, because last week I went on and said, hey, I don't think there's a chance that we're gonna see top to bottom chairlift skiing next week. And boy, was I wrong. Not only did we have one of them open with that, we had 3 areas open with a chairlift top to bottom skiing, which is pretty dang amazing given the temperatures and the windows that we had. So huge props to those crews over there. They did an amazing job. I was actually able to get out on Monday and Tuesday this week to check it out. The conditions were absolutely amazing. The amount of snow that they had, I was at Trollhagen both times, and I was just blown away with how much snow was made in that short period of time, which is absolutely amazing. So a couple of housekeeping things before we dive into this week's weather forecast. First and foremost, we have 2 ski areas that are going to be open for this weekend, Trollhagen and Wild Mtn. We'll post their hours on screen right now. Obviously, be sure to check in on their social media pages and their websites for any updates regarding that. But if you want to get on snow, you definitely have an opportunity this weekend. Andy's Tower Hills is going to be closed this weekend because they're going to conserve some snow and focus on snowmaking this weekend, which we'll get into in just a second. But you do have the opportunity to be on snow, which is really great. Another thing I want to bring up is our map. I didn't mention this last week, but if you're new around here, the best way to get the most up-to-date information is to head on over to MidwestSkiers.com/resort guide. And that is going to give you a color-coded map with all of the ski areas across the Midwest. I think there's 120 of them. And basically it breaks down like this. Green means that they're open for the season. Yellow means they're making snow. Red means they're closed and haven't made snow. We reset it after each snowmaking push. And another thing I want to point out is if you see something that's orange, that means that they've either opened and are now back on standby, kind of like Andy's Tower Hills, or they have an opening date announcement, meaning that they're going to open in the next couple of weeks and they've made that official announcement. You can do searches by state and all of that information. It's really great. If you haven't checked it out, be sure to go over there. But that's where you're going to find the most up-to-date information. Obviously, I cannot make videos every hour. This stuff is changing by the hour, by the minute sometimes. I can't change photo posts. I can't post enough. That's where you're going to find the most up-to-date information. I go in there and I literally update that every 30 minutes to every hour about who's making snow, who's announcing openings, all that fun stuff. It's really easy to digest from your side of things, and it's obviously way easier for me to update. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But let's dive into our forecast for this week because we got some maybe not so great things to talk about this week. So let's get on into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to go up to Dresser, Wisconsin, which is the Trollhagen and Wild Mtns of the world. We'll bounce back to some of the more northern areas in a minute, but I want to answer the question that I think is on everybody's mind, and that is, how long can the snow that they made last? And are we going to have any opportunities to make additional snow to then get those areas, both Wild Mtn and Trollhagen, to kind of get through the next week, which temperatures are looking a little more mild than we would hope for? Well, as you can see today, it is really warm. It's about 2 o'clock on Friday. We're up to like almost 70 degrees. It's hard to believe in the middle of November that we're getting this warm, but we are. It's a beautiful day out there, no doubt, but not for skiing and snowboarding, and it's definitely not for preserving snow. Now, they definitely will make it through this weekend. I have no doubt about that. I was out there looking at their snowpack and just looking at photos. No doubt. So if you want to go skiing this weekend, highly, highly recommend it. The conditions will be great. It's going to be obviously spring-like with the temperatures the way that they are. However, it will set up at night. So I think it's going to be a good weekend of skiing and snowboarding. Go check it out if you guys are into that. They have good coverage. It'll be fun. Now, obviously, we don't really have any snowmaking. If we look around 11 o'clock on Saturday, it gets down. We do get down to like about 26 degrees, but it's not until like wee hours of Sunday morning. So I don't think that anybody's going to fire up Saturday night just because it's a really shallow window and it comes later in the morning. And especially if these guys are opening at, say, 10 o'clock, I think is their opening hours, it's just not going to give them enough time to make snow during that stretch. Where I do think we will see snowmaking for both of these resorts is going to be Sunday night. Now, it drops off around 10 o'clock. We get down to that 28 degrees at 63% humidity, which will be great for firing it up. And then we can go basically until about 9 or 10, about 9-ish, 27, then it gets up to 28 by 9. So about 9 o'clock. So we're going to have about 11 hours of continuous snowmaking from Sunday night into Monday morning, which will be great because that is going to be a great refresh for those areas to kind of build back up a little bit of base that they might have lost over the last few days. However, looking at the rest of the week, you can see it's not the best news. We have a couple of nights that we might be able to fire up, and this is really just going to depend on how the forecast progresses over the next few days. You can see on Monday night, it's really, really shallow. We're only getting down to about 29 degrees with 81% humidity. Probably not going to happen unless things dip a little bit lower for them. Tuesday night, kind of the same story. We're just hovering right around freezing. And then from there, I mean, we literally are going to be just flirting just above freezing for the rest of the week. So I would really just highlight that Sunday night into Monday morning is probably the best opportunity to make snow for Trollhagen and Wild. And I think that will be enough to get them through this upcoming week. Now, the good news about this forecast for them is the highs are much lower than, the 67 that we are seeing today. They're in the lower 40s as the high. So that's a lot better than being up in 67 and sunny. So, and with the clouds and things like that, that'll all help to preserve the snow. So I think with the snow making opportunity that they will have on Sunday, that'll get enough refresh to then get them through the week. And then we are just going to cross our fingers and hope, looking at that Saturday, Sunday forecast, that maybe behind that, starting on like the 24th, 25th, 26th, those temperatures start to dip down a little bit more so we can get into more continuous snowmaking and not playing this, nights only / select nights only snowmaking game. But I'm pretty safe to say that I think that Troll and Wild will continue operations into next week. But keep your eyes on their social media pages, as obviously these things can change quickly, or on our guide as well. Now let's bounce up to Lutsen, Minnesota, who did fire up last week as well. We got to see a lot of snowmaking last week. Nearly 50 areas across the entire Midwest fired up, either for snowmaking pushes or just to test the system. I think personally the most impressive output that I saw, now we didn't see everybody because not everybody has webcams, was Giants Ridge. Looking at their webcam, it was amazing to see the amount of snow that they were able to lay down in those few days that they were making snow. So it was a good webcam to watch. If you haven't seen that, you can pop on over there. We might even put that up on screen right now, but their output was phenomenal. Again, they will not open until Thanksgiving weekend just because that's how they roll. They'd rather hold that snow and wait until then. And they will have some opportunities to make snow. This is kind of their similar forecast as Lutsen. As you can see here, really warm right now in the upper 40s, and then tomorrow will be in the 40s as well. However, we dip down on that Saturday night again. So again, I think it's a little too shallow to fire up, but I do think Sunday is, again, another opportunity where they can fire up, say 8, 10, 9 o'clock, and then roll through the wee hours of the morning, and then have to shut down about 12 hours later in the Monday morning. So that's really great news. We'll get another strong push from those guys overnight. And then again, Monday, they have a deeper front coming through than compared to the Trollhagen Wild areas. They're going to be able to probably make snow if they want to. It is not the longest. It starts around 7 o'clock at 29 degrees. It doesn't get super cold at any point, but they'd probably be able to run for another 12 hours from Monday night to Tuesday morning. That'd be both Lutsen, Giants Ridge, basically anybody up in that northern area. And then it's going to be guns off for a while, basically starting Tuesday all the way through the rest of the week. We have a couple of areas where it does get down below freezing, but not cold enough to make snow on that Friday into Saturday, and then same thing on Saturday into Sunday. So again, we're going to kind of just watch. We're going to conserve snow, and then we're going to really try to circle that week of the 23rd or 24th, because that's going to be the last opportunity that we have basically before the Thanksgiving break to make that snow, which is cutting it close, because obviously everybody wants to be open for that Thanksgiving break. That's what we all want, but we're going to have to see. It's going to be cutting it close. We got to really hope for those colder temperatures to kind of move in that week of the 24th there. So we'll keep an eye on that as we move forward. Now, we have somebody request Powder Ridge. Now, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, obviously, I'd love to do every ski area in the Midwest. There's 120 of them. It's impossible. Unless you want to be here for 5 hours each and every week, it's not practical for me either. But if you guys do have requests, let me know, and I'll try to bounce around as much as I can. Just take it with, understanding that we're going to do general areas, and then you can kind of apply that to your area that's, with the ski area that's in that zone. So, for example, Kimball is pretty close to Andy's Tower Hills. It's pretty close to Elm Creek. Detroit Mountain kind of gets thrown into that clump as well. Obviously, it's going to vary quite a bit depending on where you're at, but the general sense is the same. If I'm saying that they're going to be making snow at Powder Ridge on Sunday night, that probably means that they're going to be making snow at Andes Tower Hills on Sunday night. So, but if you do have requests for future videos, be sure to drop that in the comments, because I will try to mix it up a little bit just so we have a variety of different areas. So we're not just always focusing on the same one. So they have a very similar forecast to the ones that we've already been looking at. It is 67 right now, which is ridiculously warm for this time of the year. Obviously, tomorrow is going to be a little milder at 48, and then that Saturday night we drop off. A little shallow again, so I don't think they'll fire up that night, but I do think Sunday night is looking pretty promising for a little bit of a push as well, starting around 10 o'clock at night and then going through until about 9, 10 the next morning. Same thing, gets warm the rest of the week. Probably will not see any snowmaking moving into that week and then kind of into the weekend as well. So I don't know how much they made at Powder Ridge currently, but it's not looking great for opening next weekend based off of kind of the forecast that we see on screen right here. I would probably circle the Thanksgiving weekend is going to probably be the most what we're going to be looking at, and that's not even a guarantee yet either, because we don't know obviously what's going to happen the week of the 24th. We're going to move over to one I missed last week, and I do apologize. Thanks for commenting and let me know about this, because I don't know how this lapsed my mind, but Ski Brule is always in the running for early openings. They're always circling that late November timeframe as well, and they did push, and they pushed really hard. So thanks for the shout out on that. Usually we do include somebody from the UP. Totally lapsed my mind last week, just rushing the first one of the season. We're going to get it done, though, this week. So we're going to go up to Iron River, which is kind of that Ski Brule zone over there. Very warm today as well, with 56 degrees currently. Going to be warm tomorrow, 48 degrees. Starts to drop off Saturday night. And then again, that Sunday evening push that we've been talking about, looking good. 29 degrees going all the way through, and then basically 30 degrees that following morning. So we're going to have a nice push there. What they do have too is that Monday night, they're looking a little bit more, little deeper on some of this cold front that's moving in on that Monday night, so they can start making snow again at 7, 8 o'clock, and then push all the way through to the morning time as well. And then even Tuesday, they're looking like they might be able to make a little bit of a push too through that time frame as well, from 8 o'clock at night until about probably 8 or 9 in the morning as well. So 12 hours. So we got 3 12-hour pushes from an area like Ski Brule. So their targeting opening date right now is looking like the 21st. I do think Ski Brule is one to watch over the next 7 to 10 days here. They did have really good output the past few days. Last week when we had those snowmaking temperatures, they're looking pretty solid. They got a few windows here that are looking really good. So I do think Ski Brule opening on the 21st or 22nd for the season is a very real possibility, and probably is the only one across the Midwest that I think could open next week, given that they already have so much snow ready to go, on top of a few pushes that most of the Midwest will not have this upcoming week. So keep an eye on Ski Brule and our map for openings potentially this upcoming week. So let's swing on down to Portage, Wisconsin. So this would be your Cascades, Devil's Head, Tyrrell Basin. They're warm as well, 70 degrees, 68 degrees currently, and basically going to get warm tomorrow as well, up into the lower 60s. And again, same thing, where we're going to have that warm front for a little bit, kind of starts to drop off Saturday night, but really drops off on Sunday. Maybe some snowmaking on Sunday night. You know, we got a few hours in there, probably a little more reduced than some of the others. About 8 to 10 hours of snowmaking potentially, starting around 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, and going through about 8 in the morning or so. So I could see some areas firing up during that stretch, but the rest of the week is looking pretty rough, with temperatures basically above average, above freezing for the rest of the week, and even some rain in the forecast as well. So I don't see any snowmaking after that Monday morning. After they turn the guns off Monday morning, basically snowmaking is going to have to halt until at least the 24th. So we're going to have a big break over there. One question I did get last week was specifically about Alpine Valley in Wisconsin. Because their snowmaking system is so good, could it be possible that they open next week? Could, maybe, unlikely, I would say, based off of the forecast that they're seeing down there. It's pretty similar to Portage. It's probably just going to be a couple degrees warmer, given that it's a little bit further south and closer to Lake Michigan. Remember, that lake effect actually is bad in the early season, because that lake holds so much warmth and moisture, and that's why our friends over in the lower Mitten have a really hard time in this early season, because they have that warmth still coming off of the lake and the humidity levels that come along with it, and so it's always a little bit delayed to kind of get cooler over there. I would say probably not for Alpine Valley in Wisconsin. Their system is amazing. However, there's just not a ton of windows here. I mean, you have that one window on Sunday night, essentially, and that's about it. And I don't know that there's enough time. Maybe there is. Maybe they open with very limited terrain. They did have an impressive output this past push, but I just don't know that it's going to be enough. And then you have to survive going through, because, you know, you're probably not going to open on a Monday, maybe, but you're probably going to want to try to wait until later in the week. So I have a feeling they're probably going to essentially hit pause, hope for colder weather, and then circle that Thanksgiving weekend would be my guess. But again, we've seen things happen. Things happen all the time, so we never know for sure. Now, moving on down to Clarkston, Michigan. This would be your Pine Knobs of the world, which, by the way, we did just post our POV complete walkthrough guide, so check that out if you haven't already. We will link that up in the corner and below. That's a great ski area in the Detroit metro area. They're going to be really warm as well, so similar to kind of the Portage, just lifted up a few more degrees. So getting warm today and tomorrow, 50s, upper 50s, mid upper 50s today, and then 60s tomorrow. Falling off a little bit on Sunday, and they do have a little bit of a window on, it looks like, you know, Sunday night into Monday is too shallow to probably making snow, given that it only gets down to 29 degrees. However, Monday night, we could be seeing some testing, some snowmaking going on there, getting down to 26 degrees. They'd probably fire up around maybe midnight, maybe 11 o'clock in the evening, and then going until about, you know, 8, 9 in the morning. On Tuesday morning. And then from there, we're pretty much the same story that we've been seeing throughout all of these ski areas. Basically, that is going to be it for them for snowmaking all the way through the rest of the week into the week of the 24th. And then let's wrap up with Gaylord, Michigan. So this would be your treetops, you know, Boyne area, Nubs, the Highlands, all that kind of stuff. They got a lot of natural snow last week. I was really jealous to see snow flying as much as it was over on that side of the lake. Really great. And we saw a lot of ski areas fire up for the first time as well, even though it was mostly just testing. It's just great to see that process kind of getting underway. So we are getting much closer. However, their forecast is not good. Very similar to that of Clarkston. Warm over the next couple of days, warm on Sunday, and then Monday night into Tuesday, we kind of have a little bit of a window where we might see some areas fire up, maybe get some testing done, a little bit of a window starting on Tuesday as well. So the Monday one would start around midnight, 11 o'clock, midnight, and then go until Tuesday morning at, say, like 9 in the morning. On Tuesday night, same thing, probably kicking in a little earlier, maybe about 10 o'clock, and then going until about 8 or 9 on Wednesday morning. And then that's basically going to be their snowmaking for the rest of the week then into Sunday. And then again, same thing, you're going to be circling that week of the 24th to kind of see who can make snow if the temperatures are going to drop then. So obviously we will cover that forecast next Friday, and we'll give you the updates on all of that. So here we go. What is the outlook in general for the Midwest? Well, I can tell you this right now. I don't think, other than Ski Brule, that we're going to see any other ski areas come online this week. I think a lot of ski areas are going to basically circle that week of the 24th and hope that those temperatures dip down so then they can make a huge snowmaking push that week leading up to the standard for what a lot of ski areas, especially in the northern areas of the Midwest, have, and that's the Thanksgiving weekend. I have a feeling Troll and Wild Mountain should be okay, given that they're going to be able to make snow on Sunday night into Monday, but they're going to be one to watch for throughout the next week. Keep an eye on their social media pages. And then Ski Brule is going to be an X factor as well. They have a lot of snow that's already piled up. They have a few opportunities to make snow this week, so I can certainly see them opening maybe on the Friday or Saturday of next week, the 21st or 22nd, just kind of depending on how things fall for them. But until next week, I hope everybody has a great week. Pray for that snow or cold temperatures, and I'll see you out there.